friends, it's Rana, and I'm here today to talk about the 7 worst/most disappointing books I read in 2022. These books weren't necessarily published during 2022, I just read them during that year. This video I was supposed to film and publish last week, but I got 2 of my wisdom teeth removed and I had a swollen face for a few days. You may still even see it now, and I even hit my forehead here and I have a gash between my eyebrows, so I was looking pretty rough last week to film anything, so I didn't. And now here we are, finally. I'll be talking about my worst books of 2022. I have 7 books for you. All of them I either gave 2 stars or 1 star. Let's start with the 2-star rating because it is slightly better. But the first one is, and it is a surprise even to myself, is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I know, you might be surprised because I am a Sanderson fan. I love his books as much as the next person, but this book was not it for me. Warbreaker is definitely now my least favorite book by him, even though 130,000 people disagree with me and love this book. I just didn't like it. The beginning of Warbreaker was promising and good. I enjoyed it, but the pace started slowing, and at the middle of the book, it dragged way too much. I even switched from reading the ebook to listening to the audiobook because I couldn't bear to force myself to read another word of that book. The book is around 650 pages, and while I was reading it, it felt like forever. I felt like it will never end and I wanted to cry multiple times because I just wanted the story to end. I never had this problem with Sanderson because all of his books are massive, but I enjoyed them and they were always felt rewarding to read except for this one. Then, after all of that dragging, the ending felt rushed and unsatisfactory in my opinion. I didn't even like any of the characters or connect to any of them. I felt like I was watching them from a distance, unlike what I felt when I read Mistborn or the Stormlight Archive. I felt like I am with them and I connected to many of the characters. This one, all of the characters were unlikable for me. That's why I give this book 2 out of 5 stars. And I was sad about it because I really wanted to enjoy another Sanderson book like all the previous books I read by him, but this one was not my cup of tea apparently. The next 2-star read I have is Sarah's Key by Tatiana Dorisnay. This is a historical fiction with dual timelines. The first one follows a young Jewish girl called Sarah in Paris in 1942, I think, and she gets arrested with her family, with all the Jewish people in Paris then, as a Nazi-French collaboration against the Jewish people. But before the soldiers get to them and arrest them, she hid her brother in a cupboard in their apartment and kept the key with her, thinking that she will be back in a few hours to get him out. The second timeline, we follow Julia, an American journalist based in Paris, where she is asked by her magazine to write an article about that specific day in history of France where they gathered all the Jewish people. That day is called this, I can't pronounce it, and she never heard about it before, and when she starts searching about it, she is shocked by how dark France's past was and the silence surrounding that day. That was the premise/synopsis that intrigued me and made me want to read this book. But for a book called Sarah's Key, Sarah's story isn't really that present in the book. It is like less than a third of this book, which was really disappointing because I really wanted to read her story, to know what happened to her brother and her feelings, her journey, and all of that. But I ended up reading about an annoying American journalist who has a marriage problem with her French husband. No, that was not what I signed up for. I wanted Sarah's story and ended up with something really annoying. And even Sarah's parts weren't good. I didn't like the book. nor the writing style. I'm not a huge person on writing styles, and I don't even focus on it when reading books, but this book was not good. The next book we have is the first of two books by Stephen King on this list today, and it is Finn. This book was an script exclusive release, and it was set in Ireland following a very unlucky man caught in a case of mistaken identity, and it was marketed as darkly funny. It was very short, like the audiobook was less than an hour long on regular speed, and it was awful. The narrator did a great job with the Irish accent, and he was really good with what he does, but the book was really bad. The book really was bad, but I don't remember anything about it because it was very forgettable. The only thing I remember about it while listening to the audiobook, all the time I was thinking, what the hell is going on? And where is the funny part in this story? And for this book, apparently I am on the popular opinion side of the matter this time because a lot of people hated it and rated it very, very low on Goodreads. And the last two stories I have for you, some people might call me unfair because I gave it 2 stars, given that I DNF'd it. I didn't complete reading the book, and it is A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. Listen, I love me some historical fiction books. Like, historical fiction is one of my top 3 genres I love to read, and Gentleman in Moscow ended up being that type of historical fiction that I actually don't enjoy. I never thought that there is a historical fiction type of books that I don't enjoy aside from historical romance, but apparently there is. A Gentleman in Moscow is set in Moscow in 1922, following a man called Count Alexander Rostov, who was sentenced to house arrest indefinitely in Hotel Metropole. I don't know what was the reason for his house arrest. I think he was because he was an aristocrat or something. I don't remember exactly. I read more than 150 pages of this book, and it bored me to death. I can't with this book because nothing happened in it, not at all. All that happened in the 150 pages that I read is that he does his daily routine in this hotel, meet some people residing there, and have long conversations with them about things I don't care about. It is extremely character focused with minimum to no plot at all, and I don't enjoy that. I want some things to happen in my books to enjoy them. I don't care about reading about characters and their daily mundane lives. I don't like that. I want things to happen. I want some action. So I ended up not finishing this book and gave it 2 out of 5 stars. I know some people are against rating books that they didn't finish reading, but I just wanted to rate it. I don't know if I was in a better reading mood, I would have pushed myself to finish reading this book, but I couldn't do it at that time, and I don't know if I can give it another chance because it really was boring. And again, I am in the minority here because this book is widely loved by historical fiction lovers, and even readers who don't usually read historical fiction love this book and hype it up all the time, but I really didn't enjoy it. I am really debating whether I should unhaul it or give it another chance, but will I actually enjoy it if I give it another chance? Unlikely. Now for my 1 stars. The first one that I'm gonna brush over quickly because I'm so tired of talking about this author's books and how bad they are is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. If you are new here, hi, my name is Rana and I really don't like Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I think I gave it 2.5 stars. It was okay, I see why people like it. Then I read Daisy and Jones and the Six, and it is one of my most hated books ever. I really hate that book. Then I said to myself, let's give this lady another chance. And the third and last chance was Malibu Rising, and I ended up also hating it. Not as much as Daisy Jones and the Six, but I really still hated it. I talk more about why I hate this book in a video I made about all the Goodreads Choice Award winners for the past 10 years in the historical fiction category, and it was one of the winners, unfortunately, and I talked there about why I hate this book. It is a bad book. And I really don't want to explain myself again here and hate on Taylor Reid's books one more time on my channel because I did it enough. She's just one of these authors that I don't enjoy their books, and I can't, for the life of me, understand why people enjoy her books. Now, for the second Stephen King book I have on this list, it is Salem's Lot. Hear me out. I never thought I'll ever give a Stephen King book 1 star. I know I give a lot of his books 2 stars because they always had that one thing that redeemed them for me that won't let me put them in the 1 star slot. But the day has come and I gave Salem's Lot 1 star. I know, it is really one of his most popular works, but I really hated it. It was terrible. I also talked more about this book in another video reviewing 4 of his books. You can go and watch it. You can see here that I really don't want to talk about books I hated because talking about books I hate gets my blood boiling. So I'm trying to be as brief as possible with these 1 stars because I don't want to get angry today. But in short, why I hated Salem's Lot. It was way too long. It had way too many characters which are all unrememberable, but they are there to be turned into zombies for the sake of the plot, and many unnecessary sexual scenes, as usual from our Mr. King here. And finally, the breaking point for me was that the vampires in this book acted more like rabid zombies than actual vampires. They went around, running around and biting, turning everyone to vampires because they wanted to turn as many people to vampire as possible, which is not a characteristic of vampires. It was more like I'm reading a zombie book. You know, when zombies go around biting everyone, it was like that. And last but is least, my most hated book ever, 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak. I'm not joking when I say it is like up there with my most hated books of all time. I detest this book with all of my heart. Funny enough, this was a reread. Yes, I actually put myself to suffer through one of my most hated books ever and read it again for the second time just to make a rant review about it. And I actually did. I have more than an hour long rant review of this book, but I talked in Arabic in that review because I read it in Arabic and it has a huge Arabic reader base, so that's why I talked about it in Arabic. And I didn't subtitle that video because I don't want to torture myself into subtitling an hour long rant review into English. So I'm sorry about that. If you understand Arabic, you go ahead and watch that video and see why I hate that book with all my heart. I hate this book a lot for way too many reasons, but the main important one, it portrays Islam in a really an accurate way through the Sufism lens, and it was really inaccurate, false, and even blasphemous at times. That's why I hate it so much. And people love this book in Arab countries and eat it up and hype it up all the time, talking about it like it is a miracle that this ridiculous book exists. And I really hate it. I really hate this book. I will never read anything but by this author ever again because of how much I hate this book and how much it scarred me for life. If you ask me if there was one book that I can delete from my memory and from the world forever, it will be this book. Yes, that's how much I hate this book. So that's all for today's negativity. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please subscribe to see my next video, which will be about my best books of 2022. I have a little twists and surprise for that video, and it will be really fun for you to watch and for me to make. And that's all. Please subscribe and I'll see you next time. Bye!